I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. You know I be on a what? Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what? Yeah. It's all hard.
What's up, and welcome to another exciting episode of Ride the Rebellion podcast, the only zero drop podcast in the known universe. And we're still together, unlike those other guys from Mahalo.
Yeah, that's what happens when you copy shirts. You get canceled.
Dale Boyd canceled them. Dale Boyd can't copy shirts.
Can't copy shirts.
I don't even know the story on it. And I actually quite enjoy their content, and they're fantastic filmmakers. So that was just a jab, a friendly jab, just
They
a little
great
attaboy.
filmmakers, honestly. Like some of their stuff is really good.
Not even just their bike stuff. They're legit filmmakers.
Yeah.
Like, I can't argue it. I mean,
And it's entertaining.
filmmaker doesn't mean the same thing it did when I was a kid, but
Right. Hey, I was actually thinking about this today. I was going to talk to you. We're just going to have this conversation right now. So I was listening to Mr. Beast on the Theo pod.
oh, is he on there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So do you think, like, if you look back at like old time directors of legendary movies,
Define old time.
no,
No.
I'm
ahead.
talking like the Gone with the Wind times.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like-
classic director.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
directors that are the corners, like they created modern movies,
Yeah.
basically. Spielberg, maybe even one.
100%.
So, do you think Mr. Beast is carved his niche into the first
100%.
like director of modern YouTube media?
It's that he created a new medium. So if you look at the fact that he dropped a video, my kids like Mr. Beast. I'll watch it with him. He dropped a video, might have been 2 days ago by the time this comes out, 3 days, whatever. And within the first 3 hours had 59 million views. 3 hours, 59 million views. There is no one arguably generating more revenue, even in the movie side of things, than him. You could argue maybe the guy that directed Titanic, James Cameron, gets close, but nobody like Mr. Beast is the GOAT of
Right.
YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very difficult. No one's even ever gotten close. This isn't like Michael Jordan. The
No.
gap in time between Jordan and LeBron is how many years? Sports question.
2003 is when he graduated, 86 to 2003, something like that, NBA wise.
Right. So, you're looking at 28 years or so,
Yeah.
somewhere in there, 20 plus years. Mr. Beast, I don't think anyone's going to come along to catch him. He's so far ahead, it won't be 20 years.
Right.
Like,
he has as many followers as there are Americans.
That's accurate.
340 million followers on YouTube.
Not to count all his other channels. Think about that.
I know, just the Mr. Beast one.
Yeah, it's stupid. So if you look at that stuff, yeah, I mean, he's
I'm over
definitely-
here like, we almost have 500. We almost have 500.
well, it's also changed. Like, if you think about now, the currency for like the actual currency of followers is that right now, that's the current meta,
Yeah.
right? Inside of the world, like that matters more to people than anything else,
Mhm.
because it does equate to some cash
It's a social
value.
score.
It is 100% a social score. But if you go back and think about the idea of there's a lot of people, and maybe some of this might have happened with somebody like Mahalo, who has a good following, or there's other YouTubers that's happened to where they've fallen off the radar. The downside of it is the expectation of what it is that you produce the same kind of content
Mhm.
for the rest of your life.
Right.
So while Jimmy is creative, he's not that creative. Like, if you look at his videos, they're the same. What he
Mhm.
figures out, he's so left brain. He just figures out the pattern in which to tell it. And he'll say that. I don't know if he
Yeah.
says on Theo Vod, but he did on any other interview I've heard him. He's obsessed with the YouTube
No, yeah,
algorithm.
he talked about it. Yeah, he talks about it a little bit. I didn't listen to all of it because a lot of it I've already heard.
Yeah.
Because he was on Rogan for
Yeah.
a while. But the cool thing about it is, well, you see what he's done. He
Yeah.
does like 7 days in a tunnel. Like, they watch it to see if they can last for 7 days, or like these game shows that he's
Mhm.
doing that are breaking all these records, because he did a game show with 1,000 people on it.
Yeah, it's coming
With
out on
1,000
Amazon.
cameras.
Yeah.
He said there was like 250 camera people, because it was just crazy. It's insane. The numbers and like the scale that it's being done on. And I thought it was interesting because we dabble in this world, right? Like, we think we're content creators, or we are, we're creating content, whether
Yeah.
it's consumed or not is different. But like, so we've kind of like, we're around this, and like seeing somebody like him, that he was just joking, and he's like, dude, I had to do this. I was like doing it in my car. Like, I just became obsessed, and like, he didn't do anything other than YouTube. And people don't see that side of it. They're just like, oh, well, Mr. Beast is.
He's chained though. So
No, he is.
that's the whole big thing, is like, once you get down that path, you
Mhm.
can't deviate.
Right.
As soon as you deviate, now people are like, well, he gets to do all this stuff. Yeah, but I'm telling you, I know how much work it is on
his
our
vi-
stuff. His production work is tremendous, and he talks
Mhm.
about that and how much money he spends on
They
the
said they have
videos.
100 years of footage from that.
That's insane.
100 years. They had 100 editors post editing it.
That's insane.
It's
and
so
I don't know
crazy.
what I mean. The other side of it too is he's got a lot of flack lately from that show specifically.
Yeah.
They've been able to quell some of it, but he's taken a lot of flack, which is goes back to the same thing. Like, you know, never meet your heroes kind of vibe. Like every
Mhm.
once in a while they're good people, but the reality of it is we're all flawed human beings. We all make mistakes. Everything goes wrong. But we have this culture of celebrity worship. That's the same thing that I've talked about before with certainly even in this medium of mountain bike stuff is like, so how many of us get served a video of just a normal dude, not normal mountain biker, he's hilarious, but a normal
Mhm.
dude or lady or whatever riding a bike on some normal trails? No, we all edit it. I'm guilty of it. The
Yeah.
ride video, for example,
them.
is got all these shots. When I needed the big shots, who did I go to? Tanner Stoltz. Tanner,
Mhm.
get up in the air
Yeah.
and
be
then
cool.
slow-mo it so we can,
Right.
and we even put a skadoosh
Right.
underneath it to hold it, because that's marketing. That's the fantasy.
Mhm.
And there's only few people that can get the fantasy. The reality of it is you and I both know how much Tanner worked to get to that point
Yeah.
and had natural talent on top of it. So any of that stuff just gets
Well, and
wild.
the thing that I always tell everybody, they're like, well, I can't ride at the Rebellion because I don't ride like that. I don't jump like that. I'm like, that's not the only trails we have. That's the only videos we make of the trails.
Right.
Like watching us pedal and be out of breath is not that entertaining of a video.
Yeah, chubby dudes going.
Yeah. Like trying to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Hey, 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 hey.
Yeah. You sound like excited children.
You sound like the Forrest Gump. Like your mama sure does care about your education, boy.
That's exactly right. Well done.
That's a good.
Way to bring it back. A little circle back there. Yeah. So this episode's dropping on the Friday before Jankfest. So not to date this episode, but dating this
Friday
episode.
of.
I'm sorry, the Friday of Jankfest. So we're probably already drunk.
Yeah, I'm after Thursday. Like I just want to be relaxed.
Yeah.
Like I've been working pretty hard.
Yeah, it's a big build up to get there. The trails are good. Barry Page came out and rode them on Sunday. None of us were there, and he came out and he was like, "My God, you guys have really taken," which feels good because Barry's a very seasoned rider. He's ridden everything. He's raced. He's done all the stuff downhill. Like he's legit. And to have him be that complimentary, it didn't. Barry doesn't blow smoke up your ass. Like he's pretty straightforward, and he was like very much like, you guys have really taken this place to another level, and it's good. It's good feeling. Excuse me, to have after knowing how much work I put in, Dale put in, the poo when he was around, and old Patty,
When he was
Patty
around.
Sickface, Patty AIDS boy.
Jesus, just out him with his age right on live action. Hey, if you guys are listening to this on your way to Jankfest, or if you're at Jankfest, or you listened to it before Jankfest, I don't know how you did that. It's pretty magical if you
No,
did.
you could be coming Saturday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But before the actual,
Oh yeah, sure.
please give Pat a hug. He
Yeah.
he loves it.
Yeah, he really does. I think you should spam P in the chat for Patty's AIDS,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm talking about financial aids.
Yeah, he doesn't. He just actually had some sickness that he got down with from our trip to Ruston.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ruston, it's a great place to experience if you get a chance to head over to Louisiana and ride your bike on the Great Hub.
It's delightful. Because of Jankfest, this podcast is airing, but you could also go watch the short film we made in conjunction with Experience Ruston. They did help fund the short film, in all transparency. But you can go watch that short film. It's called The Ride. It's got some brand new footage, some stuff you've probably seen before, some other angles, but that video is not necessarily made to promote directly to mountain bikers as much as it is to the casual rider. For example, casual riders, I'm going to define as the mobile area not mountain bikes, so the mobile area bikers or whatever they are, who decided to have an off-road ride and just rode the hobo trails that we've been riding as hooligans for years.
Dude, they're just like Mahalama, dude. They just want to be us. It's fine. It's fine.
But this is the video for them to say, hey, wait a second, I really enjoyed mountain biking. This place looks like a place I could go improve my skills, get better without really risking maybe some of the stuff that we have at the Reb, because most of these folks in that group, and they're great, they're wonderful human beings, but most of the people in that group are roadies, assumably, because I never see them anywhere else. So I'm assuming they're roadies. And they all had mountain bikes, but this would at least allow them, if they wanted to progress, to a little bit more fun stuff.
Well, it's cool to see people other than the hobos that we run into out on those woods.
It was a big group too.
It was a big group, yeah. One of
So-
our Reb guys was there.
Who was there?
Michael Manning.
Was he?
Yeah,
I
he was
didn't,
there.
I didn't pay attention. Well, we like Michael. He's okay.
Yeah.
He made it through.
He made it through. Jesus, this has just become quite the cult.
Whatever it is, we don't know. Yeah, so if you have a chance, watch the ride. It's good. We're very proud of it. We worked very hard on it. There was a lot of Bothan spies that died, Star Wars reference, to make that video happen, but we're very happy with it. It's really rare in my industry that you send a video to a client, even though they've paid for it. You send them a video to a client and you get like this insane response back that says like, I can't believe how good this is. We're thrilled. No notes, please put it out. And so again, it talks about how great they are, but also, you know, we did find a love for that place, and we've talked about it before. Like, yes, this is paid, but at the same time, it's legit. We both really had a good time. Pat even had a good time, which is hard because Pat, you know, he's just there for the laughs.
I guess
No, he likes to see us laugh.
that's true.
Yeah. All
It was
right. So
good to
there's
see
that.
James while we were there.
Yeah.
Shout out James.
James is going to be on the show at some point.
Yeah, we got to.
Yeah, James has got an interesting story. I think his commitment to that place is
It's second to
ridiculous.
none.
Yeah, I mean, it is just absolutely. It's actually going to end up being a very powerful motivational episode because of how much this guy loves this location. Not just riding, he loves that place, Lincoln Parish Park, that is, and he loves it dearly. And he's put a lot of work in. That place wouldn't have the hub without Toby, which again, sponsor. Yes, we know. Shred with Summit. Great group. You can go to summitbikeacademy.com or shredwithsummit.com, either way. And you can learn about where they're teaching. Somebody was asking about it. I tagged him in a post recently. I don't remember where that was, but yeah, if you're going to go get lessons, even up in Birmingham with Shane, that's pretty rad. If you get to ride with Shane, first off, that's cool. But secondly, Shane, I imagine, is a really good instructor based on how good he rides. So take advantage of that while you can. And then obviously one of our premier sponsors who's bailed us out and helped us with lots of stuff, including Jankfest. I don't think our riding would be as fun as it would be without Jody at Build Tune Ride. Obviously we shat all over him and Misha. That sounds terrible for the awfully recorded audio from last episode. But we got a lot of feedback. I had a lot of people saying like, I didn't care. It was a great episode. We're going to do another episode up there so you guys can kind of see the stockyard. I think that's pretty important. But Jody and Misha, they've put in more work, and it is truly a labor of love. If you have not heard that podcast, do your best to listen to it because you'll hear nothing but two people who absolutely love and have dedicated themselves to making something really magical in the middle of nowhere, we thought, although it's adjacent to Lake Martin.
And last Pro Cycle, I
100%.
took the kids over for their Thanksgiving turkey fondue, I think is what they call it, something like that. It's like the 14th annual. The kids in typical Reb fashion, we rode our mountain bikes and we got there before the group and left before the group got back before the group was there because we like to drink beer. And so it was me. I like to drink beer, not the kids.
Yeah, they root beer.
They might, yeah.
Sarsaparilla.
But it was cool to be around a different community than what we are usually, and I actually knew quite a few of the people and got to meet some other people. And it's always a blast to hang out with Joseph and Katie.
Yeah, they're wonderful human beings, and they will be at Jankfest, which is super exciting. Just to hang out with. It almost feels like they're a little bit in my mind. They're like kind of like celebrities in my head. I've celebritized them because I see them so infrequently, and when I do, it's like Nixon. Nixon is a celebrity to me. It's like, oh, I get to hang out with a celebrity, and he's listening to this, rolling his eyes, and also probably patting himself on the back. I was going to say something else, but kept keeping it G.
Oh man,
yeah, but he's going to post it in the comments. I mean, he'll say something nasty. That's what he does. But Nixon is a celebrity, and Nixon bailed on us, so shame on you, Nixon. So can we also get a shame Nixon in all the comments, please?
Yeah,
everybody just comment shame Nixon.
Nixon, our event was planned well before the bike shop event, so just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, you could have been here. You could have been a contender.
You could have started riding your bike weeks ago
to get here.
Yeah,
that's right. Fair enough. Yeah, so really this episode's pretty short, straightforward, and we're going to keep it simple. I was thinking more of, we'll have one more episode before the year ends. Is that correct?
I think so.
And we may take a hiatus. We'll see what happens towards the end of the year. It does get a little tricky with time, but I was thinking about what is your this year, out of all the insanity that we've experienced, the fun up and downs, do you have anything that stands out to you as like, and I can keep it framed either in in revolving this podcast, or we can go outside of the podcast. Maybe it's 2 questions. What's your favorite piece of podcast crap we came out with this year?
Getting to interview the Escape Collective dude.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone understands how important that was. Like, that guy is legitimately a big time person in the cycling world, and getting to sit down with him for a little bit of time and like ask him questions about a podcast we just listened to was really awesome. That to me was it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that one's big. I have to do the Vinyl Cafe thing just because of my obsession with that podcast, and getting to talk to her about Stuart. And I got to spend time with her afterwards for a little while and just have conversations about Stuart was the original host of that show. He died of cancer, but I got to talk to her about that. And I think it was cancer, but he died early. But having that conversation, epic.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also been a lot of like stupid, fun, random things. If you remember at the end of last year, we announced that the podcast was over.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Everybody freaked out, dude.
It was over, and we
It's
did
like,
it live.
We don't even know who listens until we tell them we're not going to have any more. And then all of a sudden it's like people come out of the woodwork.
Yeah. So this year we're doing the same thing. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't, if you tee it up, it doesn't work.
No.
We will not be doing another live stream version of it. Our live streams have been catastrophes.
Yeah.
We have never been able to get that to work right. But we will keep chugging forward. What about like mountain bike moment? Do you have a mountain bike moment that you're?
I think that's tough. It's really hard because now that I think about it, I feel like I didn't do enough. Like, I didn't travel enough. I didn't do this. I didn't ride enough because I really haven't ridden that much this year. But the like getting to know Jody better and like the community that he has at the stockyard was really cool. And the Jagrundy Jubilee was just so much fun. Like, there wasn't a million people there.
Yeah.
But the core group that was there was it was a great group of people. And the fun that we had is unexplainable, and so that to me was cool. There's other stuff, but I don't know. I mean, the Reb has grown by leaps and bounds, but I don't know that it grew by people. It grew by our skills have grown, and it's cool to see like, damn, we never would have built this before. We never would have tried this before. Now we are. And that to me is really cool. And we're 40-year-old dudes, so it's not like we're hitting 85-foot kickers or anything, but it's still, for us, is awesome.
Yeah, I got to agree. I was actually going to say, I think I have 2 that stand out. And one of them was recent, is because of that exact progression measurement of looking at like, so for y'all that don't know, there's a trail there called Jakey Poo that's just a short line in with some stupid ever evolving crap that Jake builds on it all the time. And we get to talk trash because he never listens, but he constantly updates. Well, we roll up one, I don't even know if it was a Sunday or it was a Friday. It was a Friday. We roll up one Friday, and Dale and Pat have built this gap jump.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
It is. I mean, it's
for the Reb.
The Reb. And so they've got this gap jump that's extremely high consequence, because if you don't make it, you are effed.
The landing's wood. So
yeah, it's straight. It's janky as it can be. People will be racing on it.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
But what happened is without any pressure, like Dale and them, they took off and were riding, and Pat, and this is a thing I can always say about Pat. Pat is one of the best people to tow you in, because Pat adjusts his, whether he does it on purpose or not, he's probably going to say he doesn't, because he's actually a pretty humble a-hole. But he adjusted. I was a little nervous about hitting it because that's the biggest gap. I had not hit much gaps. It's just fear tolerance for me is not there. And Pat like rode into it so freaking slow to prove a point to me that then when we cleared, I was like, oh my God. And now it's like every day. Well, then they went and built doubles on the bottom, and I was already clearing a gap on Primal that arguably might be the same length, but it's downhill. This is just a little bit different kind of build. Then they put some doubles down on there, and same thing, riding into him. Dale's like, you got it. Just pedal, and gave me the Dale way of doing it, which no one matches the Dale way. First off, he's 80 feet tall, and his legs are 6 feet taller than mine.
It's easy. It's easy.
Yeah, it's easy. That's his thing. Easy. And so I hit that, and then I've hit it every time. Every once in a while, it is a little bit more technical jump. It's harder than the other 2 gaps we have. But it made me realize, like, oh my gosh, I could build a progression. So I built a baby gap for other people who are nervous. So like, if you can hit this, then you can hit the one up top. If you hit the one up top, you can hit these down here. And we've seen other people progress their riding, not because of me, but because these guys took a risk. And it does matter because it makes it more fun. And it's actually oddly teaching me to ride safer. That's one piece. Then the other part is, dude, riding in Texas was, I know John that with non-stock, no stock, whatever it is, he knows this because it's his home territory. But riding in Austin was absolutely mind blowing. That's one of my favorite rides I've ever had. And I got a great text message from Toby when I was on my way to Spider Mountain that said, "Are you by yourself?" And I was like, "Yes." He goes, "Don't ride there." So Coach Toby telling me, don't, your skills are not there for that place without someone with you. He said it's just confusing.
Oh.
So, or maybe one Spider, it's the other one. What's the one that John rides? The
Reveille Ranch.
Reveille. He was like, "Don't ride that by yourself." And I was like, "Okay, got it." I was on vacation, probably a good call. So I rode some XC-ish type place that was still fun to ride through all these different types of and see snakes and random shit. Anyway, that's my 2. Is there anything else that stands out to you from this year that you take away?
Man, I don't know. There's been a lot of people that have
Does
come
anything
and go.
maybe trump something else?
Our presidency was pretty good. Trying to finally having haters is pretty sweet.
That pun was so stupid.
I don't know. I think that maybe we probably started with haters actually, but we just progressed them further. I don't know. I think that I always am appreciative of everybody that listens to this. I don't think we know who does, obviously, because we have the most silent fan base on the planet when it comes to social media, mostly because they're too old and they don't know how to type correctly.
That is fair. Or maybe their hands are full.
Yeah.
Nixoning it.
Right. Yeah. So I think that could be part of it, but it always is cool when you see somebody or run into somebody when you're out and not from here. The people in Mobile have gotten beat up with Ride the Rebellion podcast where they don't care anymore. But everybody that's not from here, they listen still. And when you go to Bogue Chitto or Birmingham or Montgomery or Huntsville or wherever we're at, we always hear, hey, I listen, I love it.
Yep.
Great, thank you. And it's like, that's pretty cool for me. That's reaffirmed. It's near the feeling that you get when somebody rides an awesome trail that you just built. You know, like, damn, yeah, we're doing this. We take time. It takes Drew and I time to set down, schedule, to even do it. Yeah. So it's cool when we hear that people like it.
Yeah. No, I'm 100% in agreement. I think the fan base, or not the fan base, I don't even like that, but the Cyber Rev members that exist, I love seeing stuff. And one of the things that I think, I'm not attributing it directly to us, but I do think it has led to some motivation is watching Kyle down in Florida. Mm-hmm. He's taken on trails by himself.
Yeah.
Like he has no support system. And that dude's out there putting signs up and raking trails and cleaning trails. And he's doing all that stuff. And I know it's because his passion for riding has come back. And now I'm not saying that's directly related to us, but I also know that he attribute some of that to us. And so it's good to see that kind of stuff too. As an example, there are other groups, there's other haters, there's all that kind of stuff.
It is good when I same thing. I see things that pop up and it's like, yeah, we say we got copied by people. The mountain bike is not that big. Like,
right.
Obviously having an MTV logo that says MTB is not that creative.
Right.
I mean, it's
now the Dirt Church devil going to get
the Dirt Church thing. Yeah, that was
shame on you.
Yeah, but there's things like that I see pop up in different communities where people start Dirt Church or they do this or they do that. And I think that's awesome. I mean, I didn't create Dirt Church. I just stole that from somebody else like out West or something, but we just talked about it a lot, and like the Friday Night Lights thing, I see things popping up in other places that are similar. And whether that is us or not, or whether it's now in our sphere because we are doing it is, I don't know. I think it's pretty rad.
I think it's super rad. Like the guys down in Florida have a Dirt Church.
Mm-hmm.
Jody has a Dirt Church from time to time. I love seeing that because it just says to what we've talked about from day one, which is communal, mm-hmm. and seeing all that kind of stuff push forward that's awesome because that does mean that, selfishly, that means that when we go out of town, we do probably have somebody we can call in those areas and be like, hey man, we're coming in town. Is there, if you can't ride with me, at least tell me where to go ride. Same thing we've seen here. We've had multiple people come in from out of town that we've allowed to go ride at the Reb mm-hmm. just because we had the opportunity to give that experience to them. And so I think it's that same sort of community thing of like, hey, yes, this is private, but it is awesome. By the way, so go ahead.
Oh yeah. This I was just going to say. The other thing is like, when you go into a town that you're not from and you want somebody to show you, don't ask them to come ride with you because then they feel like they're obligated. Just ask them a good place to go eat.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, hey, yeah, by the way, I can ride. Like then,
even where to go ride.
Because like I feel bad sometimes if somebody comes in town and they're like, dude, I want to ride and I don't have time to go ride with them right when they need it. And I'd rather just give them some other advice
Yeah.
if possible. So like that's just a friendly note. Like be a friend. Like just ask for food instead of
Or I ask where to ride, like what.
or where to ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I do that a good bit, and then they'll often say I'll go with you or
Mhm.
whatever. But at least you
Yeah.
give them an out without putting the
Correct.
pressure on them,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. And one last piece for anybody that listens that is a Reb member who doesn't bother to read the forums or go to us. We are officially a closed club, even more so now. So it is not a FU to anyone trying to find it or get in. You can still find ways. But the Reb is locked up now. There's a gate. If you do not know how to access the Reb, you are probably not a member. If you are a member and do not know how to access the Reb, you are no longer a member.
Or you don't know how to read.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Because that probably means I never read the contract, which in court would be inadmissible.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes I wonder who reads what.
Oh, 100%. People read if you know what I read? I read this thing that said if it says see more, people don't read the see more. So you're supposed to keep your Facebook post to like 80 characters.
No, I don't know how
That's
to
like
do
Tweeter.
That. Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Or whatever it's called now. X gonna give it to you.
Oh yeah, X.
Yeah.
That's where I get all my news.
And other material.
Yeah.
And
Jankfest.
Yeah, like Jay. Yes. All right. Well, I guess we're going to wrap it up. Like I said, I'm going to keep it short. There's no reason to ramble on beyond that. So if you are headed to Jankfest, we'll see you there. If you're not already there listening to this, if you missed this one, don't worry. We'll hopefully have another one. We don't know where, but there's also lots of other events that pop up everywhere from, chasing the gang up in Bump to Build Tune Ride to even over in Bogue Chitto with Toby and friends. There's lots of cool places to go, and you'll see a lot of the same people after a while. So the community is getting smaller by getting bigger, which I think is always a good thing. So if you have a chance, go ride somewhere. I'd meet somebody new. With that said, just remember what Dale Boyd says.
What is going on here?
Jankfest!
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what?